Hello, everybody. My name is Kathelijne Swaak. I'm the lead fraud chain within CISO channel security at AMRO Bank in the Netherlands. And I'm going to tell you something about the weakest link. But before that, let me tell you something you don't know about me, and that is that I studied economics and history when I was younger. I'm a history buff. So before we were in this digital age, before print was invented, even before the alphabet, the only thing people could rely on back in the days was telling stories. And I can tell you that as in today, even this digital age with all the information flowing us through the web, telling stories is still very important. So stay with me. And I'm going to take you a little bit back in time, because like a century ago, when people had money, they brought it to the banks. We had big safes over there. And even on the right, you see our customer campaign on safety, like rent a safe, individual safe with us, because then your money is really safe. It was banks' responsibility to keep your money safe. But now fast forward to this digital age, where you can bank anytime, anywhere, on any device you want. This changes something in the responsibility. Of course, we as a bank need to make sure that our digital products and services are safe. But it's your device. It's your PIN code that goes along with your debit or credit card, and your digital token who enable you to pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay. So it's our customers' responsibility as well. And with that, there are our weakest link. You can see something like this also in some data we have for online fraud. And with the pandemic, actually also came this scamdemic in online fraud. If you see the numbers rising and rising, especially on bank impersonation, only in 2022, we had a 61 million euro damage. There is a lot of emotional suffering with all the victims. Fraudsters finance other crimes with their profits in online fraud. So it's a major social problem, and a cooperation is needed with all banks, the police, our Ministry of Justice and Security, the Consumers Association, and many, many more parties here in the Netherlands to fight online fraud. And of course, as a bank, we do the basics. We tell our customers to follow like 5 security rules. Like 5, you can remember them, they're not a lot. Always keep your codes a secret. Make sure that nobody else uses your debit card. Keep your device on which you do your banking secure. Check your account, and if there are any incidents, please report them to us immediately. That's very instrumental communication, and you can find it anywhere on our websites, in our newsletters, on the letters you receive with your new debit card. And of course, we have our fraud prevention system, our fraud detection. And to be honest, that's not that basic. It's pretty much sophisticated, state of the art, but it's also a continuous whack-a-mole cat and mouse game with the fraudsters, because those fraudsters are very smart. They're very tech savvy, just like us. They know our processes and our procedures. So if they can find the back door, they will use it. They're even copied our way of organization. The fraudsters too work like Scrum Agile. And one thing that our criminals really, really good at is behavioral psychology. And that's where the trick comes in, that these basics should prevent you from fraud. But because of that advanced social psychology they use, it's not enough. Because our customers are our weakest link. And with 86% of the people in the Netherlands thinks, oh, fraud, that would never happen to me. That also means that you're not very subtle to like remember those 5 security rules, because it won't happen to me. And we can have any other campaign to reach out for awareness. But if you really think this won't happen to me, it won't click. Now, another thing that evolves around online fraud is that people think, how can you be so stupid? You know the security rules, how can you be so stupid? And that makes for the victims that actually fall for frauds, they're ashamed. There's a big taboo. They don't dare to talk about it. Sometimes they don't even call us or go to the police to file a report. They rather forget and never talk about it again. So here is the big challenge that we as a bank face on how to make sure that our customers recognize these fraudsters, recognize the schemes they use, and tell them what to do instead. So that's where storytelling came in, which I told you earlier. So I'm now going to tell you about a story of Marianne. She's the real customer of ABN AMRO, and she fell victim of fraud. She's an 81 years old lady, and she lives in a small town, and she wants to continue to arrange her daily banking affairs as long as she can herself. Now, July 1st, last year, she received a phone call on her landline. Good morning, ma'am. We're here to warn you that there's a virus on your computer. Scammers are trying to plunder your bank account. Yeah, well, Marianne says, who are you? Because I had these phone calls before and I'm not going to fall for it. But the man on the other end of the line is very refined, he's very polite, and he seems to know a lot of Marianne. So that gains her trust. And he says he's from a technical agency that works together with ABN AMRO and that he will help her. But she needs to cooperate with him now because the virus needs to come off her computer. And by the way, we also need your PIN codes. And he did that very refined. He just told her, we're now going to record them very carefully. You'll hear a beep, just say your PIN codes, and there will be another beep so that we are really sure it's going to be safe. And she trusted him, and so she did. Then another thing happened, and he said, another colleague of mine is going to collect your debit cards because they need to be safe as well. But she says, yeah, no, I need my debit card because I need to do groceries. I'm an independent woman. I want to do my groceries. But he makes sure, and he says to her, we'll make sure they're safe and you'll receive your cards, new cards, which are safe to use in a day or two. And Marianne says, well, okay. So while she's talking on the phone, at the exact time, another man pops up at her doorstep, a very nice, polite young man. And he says the security codes which Marianne got earlier, because then she knows and can verify that he's actually the colleague of ABN AMRO. So he collects the cards and also states that he'll come back later that afternoon to get the virus off her computer. And so he does. It's 4 in the afternoon when the young man comes back again, takes a seat and asks Marianne to log in to enter their banking. And while she's doing it, he won't look at her coach. He needs to have another phone call so she can log in and he will have his phone call. So Marianne logs in and then sees on her checking account that already some amounts are being withdrawn. And then she also overhears the conversation of that young man. And she hears someone at the other end of the line saying that lock needs to go off, that lock needs to go off. And at that exact moment, Marianne is very bold and very brave because she stands up and shouts, this has to end immediately. And within a blink of an eye, the young man is out of her house. And then Marianne is alone. She is stiffened and she feels her heart pounding in her throat. What did just happen? She needs to let it sink in. And then she realized she's been scammed. She immediately goes back to her internet banking to check her accounts and see there's quite some money still left on her checking accounts. And she immediately transferred it to her savings accounts on which she has the lock. So fraudsters can't access that immediately. And then she sits down and calms down and gets the frightens of her lifetime. She calls ABN AMRO and we help her, of course. And after a week, we called her again because we noticed Marianne wasn't doing well. And in the end, she told us that the impact was really, really big. She felt like she was watched every now and then. She didn't dare to go on the streets. That was how afraid she was. But over time, we're talking to others. It got better and she will never fall for it again. Now, if you think, this will only happen to elderly people. And this won't happen to me. I'm young, I'm well informed. I won't fall for it. Now let me tell you the story about Oman. far younger man than Marianne. He's in his early 40s, has a busy life, busy job, 2 daughters, and is also currently renovating his house. So one morning, he's actually in a hurry to pick up some packages. And on the other hand, he needs to do a transfer. So he thinks, I'm doing the transfer first. He logs into his account, but then he also notices he needs to do a limit change before he actually can do the transfer. Now, that didn't work as expected. So he thinks, well, I'll do that later. First, I'm going to get and pick up those packages. So he gets into his car and he's just in there and he receives a text message from ABN AMRO, which states, you can adjust your settings now. And he thinks, okay, that's cool. I actually need to fill up on gas. So he drives into the gas station, fills up on gas. And while he's doing that, he also clicks on the link in the text message and fills in the needed details. And then he sees you're now logged in ABN AMRO. But he isn't, and he can't reach the bank site. And in his mind, he said, oh, probably that's even better. I shouldn't do this in a hurry. Let me pick up those packages first and let me do my banking when I get home. So he goes back into his car to pick up those packages. Now, while he's driving, he receives a phone call from ABN AMRO. Good evening, sir. Did you really do some transfers into a Polish bank account? And he's like, no, I didn't. Well, you're being scammed right now. And we also see that they're trying to put money from your saving into your checkings account. So for safety precaution, we blocked that for you. And he was like, okay, I'm driving. I'll call back later. So he hangs up. And while he's driving, he was like freaking out. There were so many things and questions going on in his mind. Is this really ABN AMRO? Was that text really of my bank? Why can't I adjust my settings? What's going on? So a good decision. He drives home, focus on that, drive home safely. And when he gets there, he just immediately logs into internet banking and he does see that there was some money transferred to Polish bank accounts. He didn't do it. So he calls back ABN AMRO and he hears the story again that for precaution, we blocked his account. And he's really happy. We also tell him that the money transferred to Poland will be reimbursed for him. So in that way, he's relieved. Money is going back. He is safe. Now, on the other hand, he's freaking out because he is a well-informed man. He works in IT, and he always thought, this won't happen to me. But it actually did. And that really shook him because the fraudsters really took him in his weakest point. He was in a hurry, and they put on some time pressure. And that's why he fell for it. Luckily, Oman is a very easy talker. So he settled everything within ABN AMRO. He filed for a police report, but he also talks about it with his family. Not to scare them, not because he feels stupid, but to warn them this can happen to everybody. So now his family is already also like a little bit better informed and more careful when they have this email or text urging them to do something. This is our biggest customer campaign we had, telling stories, not only of Marianne and Oman, but we got a lot more customers to share their story with us. And I know it's in Dutch, but here's our campaign. And the headlines, like from Oman, was, how could I be so stupid? And Marianne says, I didn't dare to go on the streets anymore. These stories click with people. We had tremendous traffic to our websites where the full stories were transcribed, the whole interviews were there, and also with some tips and tricks, how you can recognize these sort of frauds, how fraudsters work, and what can you do? And that's where you can all come in, because we didn't run this campaign externally. We also ran this internally to our employees. When you work at a bank, of course, you have to be knowledgeable about fraud, but they also have these stories to tell to their customers. It's easy to tell stories. And it doesn't end there, because they also spread the word to their aunts and aunties, to their grandmothers, to their neighbors. And so everybody can help to prevent fraud. So keep on doing the thing you do, whether you're in cybersecurity, information security, or fraud detection. We still should do that at our utmost best. But tech will only bring you so far. So please, I hope you will tell this story and make the world a better place. Thank you for listening to me. I'm happy to connect. Again, my name is Kathelijne Swaak, and you see my contact details below. Thank you for watching.